This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka is largely an opinion talk show. All opinions, comments, or statements of fact expressed by Gwilda Wiyaka's guests are strictly their own and are not to be construed as those of the Science of Magic or endorsed in any manner by Gwilda Wiyaka, Relmar McConnell Media Company, its affiliated networks, stations, or employees. Welcome to the Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, a program dedicated to uncovering the unified nature of reality and humanity's ever-evolving place as truly galactic beings. For more information on the Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, visit us online at www.thescienceofmagic.net.
Welcome to the Science of Magic, a place where science and magic come together to transform fact into evolving truth. We're coming to you through the X-Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net, and can also be found on our website, www.thescienceofmagic.net. I'm your host, Gwilda Wiyaka. This hour we'll be exploring multifaceted healing. During pre-industrial America, people rarely visited any kind of a healer. Beyond going to the barber to pull an aching tooth or having the local doc set a broken bone, most were of the if it ain't broke, don't fix it mindset. Back then, food was natural if a bit scarce at times, water pure, air clear, and lifespan short. As science became more prevalent, farming practices changed, making food more plentiful, medical treatments more advanced, and lifespans increased. From there, we indulged in too much of a good thing and have altered our food, water, medical treatments, and lifestyles to where we live longer, but who wants to? Illness is so commonplace, most of us don't even realize how sick we are, rendering quality of life questionable. But we'll address that at another time. As we enter a new era of greater lighter frequency, we're being challenged to house a broader bandwidth of spirit. In order to thrive rather than merely survive, we must acquire more refinement physically, emotionally, and mentally to accommodate our expanding spirit. This necessitates engaging in multifaceted healing. Never in recorded history has there been as much interest in alternative esoteric healing modalities. It's no wonder in light of the transformation at hand. Today, we're not only looking at maintaining physical health, but engaging in evolutionary health. With the ambient frequency rising, increased pressures impacting every aspect of our being, and already overtaxed systems are crashing under the pressure. In the past, the rare individual interested in enlightenment might engage in a spiritual practice in order to evolve. These practices supported a raise in personal frequency through addressing health issues and facilitating refinement on all four levels. It was understood that only by addressing frequency compromises in all aspects of the human could spiritual enlightenment be achieved. Now, however, it's no longer a matter of choosing between evolution and staying where we are. At this point, we're either evolving or deteriorating. Ironically, the most powerful and widespread multifaceted healing modality is over 50,000 years old. Shamanism is found at the roots of virtually every culture and used for millennia to treat on all four levels. From EMDR to Reiki, medical intuitive to psychic surgery, mediumship to depossession, all of our so-called New Age healing modalities are based on some aspect of tried and true shamanic principles. Unfortunately, it's been ages since the last time we were exposed to such high frequency, and much of shamanism has been lost. Shamanism is not only greatly misunderstood, but currently restricted to a dogmatic, ritualistic approach with little understanding of the very scientific principles behind the practice. On the other side, necessity is the mother of invention. Shamanism is being revived, and many viable forms are re-emerging. By examining what all these forms have in common, we're able to recreate a powerful form for the people of today, rooted in ancient tried and true. There's truly nothing new under the sun, just power tools long forgotten. As we seek out alternative healing, we're challenged with sorting through the unprocessed, untrained, self-proclaimed experts to find those who have acquired the tools and training to responsibly and consistently wield their gifts. A word to the wise, don't settle for anything less. Our guest this hour, Kathy Ganev, is the Urban Spirit Guide. Kathy is a shamanic practitioner, shamanic instructor, empath, clairvoyant, and medical intuitive. She uses her clairvoyant and empathic skills along with her deep passion for wellness on all levels in her practice. Kathy began her studies in 2007 at Colorado State Certified Occupational School, Path Home Shamanic Art School, taking the 2-year shamanic practitioner certification. She became a Path Home Certified Shamanic Practitioner, Instructor, and Teacher. After this commercial break, I'll introduce Kathy G, and together we'll explore the many facets of spiritual healing in the new era. So don't go away. You're listening to The Science of Magic. Prior innovative episodes can always be found on our website, www.thescienceofmagic.net.
For nearly 30 years, I have been investigating the case of the Roswell UFO. I have interviewed hundreds of people and stood on the crash site. Now in Roswell in the 21st century, I have reviewed dozens of hours of audio and videotaped interviews, examined hundreds of files that relate to the crash, and have returned to Roswell in an attempt to put all that information into the proper perspective. For the first time in Roswell in the 21st century, I have made a dispassionate reevaluation of all that material and provide a new look at what happened. This is a book that clears away all the clutter that has hidden the truth for so long, strips away the various lies that surround the case, exposes the Air Force attempts at cover-up, and found a core of solid information that tells us all where the case stands today. Roswell in the 21st century will be available in just a few weeks. For more information, please visit my website at www.kevinrandall.blogspot.com.
Gibbs A. Williams, Ph.D., is a practicing psychoanalyst, supervisor, researcher, and author in New York City. Much of his life has been dedicated to understanding nature and the uses of meaningful coincidences or synchronicities. His radical and original non-Jungian, non-mystical, non-magical theory of synchronicities illuminates much of the fog surrounding this challenging and perplexing topic. His ideas and manners are fresh, presented in a style that is both entertaining and highly informative. He is also an expert on crisis intervention, specially focused on violence reduction for the police and citizens, mastering anxiety, frustration, and stress without the use of medication, and effectively preventing and treating heroin addiction. Dr. Williams can be contacted at his email address at gwwilliamsny11@aol.com or visit his website at www.drgibbswilliams.com.
Shamanism is recognized as a method to access the quantum level. Mastery of shamanic skills puts spiritual information and healing power into your hands. Path Home Shamanic Art School, a bonded Colorado Certified Occupational School, has met rigorous state standards ensuring its director and instructors have the qualifications to teach the shamanic arts. Path Home offers its certification program in blocks of study. Block 1, a 5-day intensive, will be held in the beautiful mountain town of Coaldale, Colorado, October 13th through 18th. Registration deadline is September 12th. Experience journey trance, power animals, helping spirits, sacred space, and life purpose. Come discover your power. Join me, Gwilda Wiyaka, in the magical world of shamanism. Call 303-775-3431 or visit findyourpathhome.com.
With each new extreme weather event or terrorist act, it becomes increasingly obvious that we live in uncertain and challenging times. We all buy car insurance. Why not collapse and catastrophe insurance? Matthew Stein, an MIT-trained engineer and green builder, has written 2 outstanding books to help people prepare, plan for, and deal with everything from minor situations lasting a few days to full-on collapse. Matt's first book, When Technology Fails, is a manual for self-reliance, sustainable living, and surviving the long emergency. This massive book covers the gamut from first aid and emergency preparedness to alternative healing, renewable energy, primitive living skills, and 18th century technologies that could be critical to your comfort and survival in a long-lasting crisis. Matt's second book, When Disaster Strikes, is a comprehensive emergency preparedness handbook and survival guide. When Disaster Strikes is an essential item for every family's go bag. Both books are available at all usual sources. There's a wealth of totally free information posted at whentechfails.com, and author-signed copies may be purchased at mattstein.com. That's www.whentechfails.com and www.mattstein.com.
Welcome back. This is the Science of Magic, dedicated to unification and evolution of consciousness. I'm your host, Gwilda Wiyaka. Our guest this hour is Kathy Ganev, the Urban Spirit Guide. Kathy G. is a Certified Shamanic Practitioner, Certified Shamanic Instructor, an Empath, Clairvoyant, and Medical Intuitive. In addition to her shamanic studies, Kathy continued her studies at Psychic Horizons Center in Boulder, completing the yearlong Clairvoyant seminary program, along with graduate-level courses, spiritual healing, medical intuition, and minister's program, receiving certification in clairvoyance and medical intuitive. Kathy's website, www.kiofghealing.com. Kathy, thank you for joining us on the Science of Magic.
Thank you for having me.
You've obtained an impressive amount of training. Would you share your thoughts on the difference you found between simply having natural aptitude and taking the time to acquire training?
Sure, yeah. The reason that I actually acquired my training or sought it out, was because I really didn't know how to use my natural gifts. And it is the reason that kind of drove me to the point of finding a teacher. And I had a very, very difficult time functioning because I was so empathic and clairvoyant. I didn't really understand that I was those things or how to use it. So I was having a very, very difficult time functioning. So in that case, it was very difficult for me to have any understanding of just having natural aptitude. The training was required for me to then understand how to utilize it. So without the training, I wouldn't be able to actually do what I do now.
Alternative or New Age healing modalities are in the rise. However, many states have no regulations around the qualifications required to teach the form. What advice do you have for people interested in finding legitimate training in the more esoteric forms?
That's a great question. So I would definitely recommend that you do your research. There have been a lot of teachings, maybe a weekend class or a workshop that may not have the qualifications or the understanding of the teachings, especially with various esoteric forms in the energy or psychic or shamanic realms. And I feel that as an empath and as a clairvoyant for myself, had I not gone to the schools that I went to, I would have probably ended up not being able to use my gifts in a good way. So I would really look at the school or the program, how long they've been established, what is their track record, are they affiliated with a state school or some kind of insurance or bonding or nonprofit affiliation, what is their background, how long have they been in service, how long have they been established, and what do they provide? What is it that you're getting out of it? Is it, one, a good match for you physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, but then what do they give you from the program? If they're not established and they don't have backing, or they maybe don't have insurance, or are not, established as a nonprofit or a valid business, then you might have to really check around, because you don't know what you're getting into or what's going to be provided, or if it's going to be a program that's beneficial for you, even from a financial perspective. So high quality for me has been critical, and I've been fortunate enough to find the highest level programs in schools for my training.
It's funny, there's two schools of thought, because there's the ancient teachings coming from the indigenous peoples, and a lot of people have been trying to seek out, teachings from them. But now, because of that, there's a lot of, just because they're indigenous doesn't mean they're shaman, and doing ayahuasca tours for money with people having no preparation and not having any kind of involvement. So it's really hard to tell. Could you speak to finding indigenous training?
Yeah, I know that there are some probably very, very high quality indigenous, I wouldn't call them programs, but societies and cultures that have handed down, to their families and to the shamans of their tribes, and have handed down the teachings and the trainings very high quality, very beautifully. But there are also people in the indigenous cultures who are taking advantage of some of the Western people that are going down to South America or other places to try to learn or to go to a medicine ceremony and try to have an awakening or an opening, and it can be very dangerous. So if you don't know who you're working with, you should be very, very wary. And it's not likely that an indigenous culture is just going to take anybody or everybody from the West. They're probably going to be a little picky, or really make sure that this person is in it for the long haul. So I think you kind of have to apply a similar thought, like do your research, do your homework, and do not just go to any kind of program or weekend medicine ceremony, or whether it's in the States, because a lot of them are coming to the States now, or in another country. But again, there are beautiful and wonderful cultures that have great teachings, but if you don't know what you're getting into, then you need to do your research.
Very good advice. There's a hot debate that's been going on for quite some time now about whether alternative practitioners should be subject to regulations like medical doctors are. Would you speak to this? Put you on the spot.
Yeah, that's a tough one, definitely for me. So I definitely don't do anything like a medical doctor, so I'm not prescribing any medications, I'm not diagnosing. Even as a medical intuitive, I'm not doing any of that. I'm looking at everything from a spiritual, emotional, mental perspective. But then that can kind of cross over into a type of counseling, or even psychology, or any kind of guidance work. So I do feel like there needs to be some kind of base, high integrity that you're working in, in some guidelines. But I think it's very difficult to create regulations from a spiritual perspective, because you can't really you can't say, okay, you can only send them this kind of energy. You can't, it's not tangible. It's not something that you can measure, I guess, physically. You can probably measure it energetically, but so I do think it's a very difficult spot, and I know that the medical doctors have a lot of regulations, and it puts them in a spot where they're having a difficult time, sometimes even practicing, because that's all they're now dealing with. That's all they're managing. They can't even really spend more time with their clients. So I think there has to be a balance, but I don't think that necessarily a spiritual or energetic healing practitioner would have the same regulations as a medical doctor.
So that being the case, because we don't have any regulations to go on, how would you advise a person looking for esoteric healing to pick a practitioner? What do they need to look for?
So definitely their schooling. What have they done? How long have they been in practice? What credentials do they have? What schools did they go to? And then what are their not only just like a mission statement and their ethical practice and their mission and all of that, but I would ask, just like if you were going to go to a doctor and say, okay, I want to know what you're going to provide me, similar to how you would look at a school or a program. Like, what am I going to get out of this for everything that I'm putting in? So definitely look at their credentials, where they went to school, and what their mission is and how they come across for you. I do think, for me, there's also been not only just the more tangible, show me your credentials, but there's also been an energetic, like, how does this person feel for me? Are they going to provide for me? What is going to be beneficial energetically, physically, mentally, emotionally? So I would look at all of that.
And so not just their credentials, but if it's a good personal match, that's good advice.
Yes.
And so you're an empath, and being one myself, I know how challenging that could be. Would you explain what it's like to be an empath and share your training, how your training in various modalities has helped you manage it?
Yeah. So being an empath has been a great gift, and it's also been very, very challenging, and it's the thing that kind of pushed me toward going into my training. So what has been the greatest challenge for me is that I was taking on the energy of others, and not only feeling their pain emotionally and mentally, but also feeling their physical pain. So I would actually feel pain in my physical body. So I had to try to understand what is mine versus what is someone else's. Before my training, I just thought it was me. I just thought it was crazy. Like, what is wrong with me? I'm either, I'm happy, I'm sad, I'm angry, I'm in pain. Like, there must be something seriously wrong with me. So through my training, I was able to learn how to know myself, learn who I am, what is mine, and be able to differentiate what is someone else's energy versus mine. But it took a lot of training. It took a lot of, day in and day out. Sometimes I would think it's mine and then realize later that it wasn't. So it was a daily practice, and I still do it today. I still take on pain and energy of others, which actually helps me in my practice. But when I'm out in the world, I have to very discern what is mine and what is someone else's, and I do that by really going within and checking in. I say, is this mine? What is this about? What is mine to do with this? And then I can clear out someone else's energy from my space if it is not mine. But yeah, it's a daily practice, and I continue to practice it.
Well, what advice do you have for empathic people trying to cope in the world?
So this is something that I tell all of my clients, as most of my clients are empathic as well. It is a daily practice. I highly, highly, highly recommend getting training, and not just only coming to see a practitioner and getting a healing session or getting a shamanic session or getting a spirit guide session. Absolutely do that. But if you are an empath, you need to learn how to manage your gifts and your skills and learn how to clear energy out of your space. And the only way that you can do that is really going through training. And I tell that to people. I don't think that the empaths and some of these super sensitive individuals understand that it is a lifelong daily practice. So really learning how to manage your gifts and know who you are and learn yourself is going to be critical.
We have just a little bit time left in this segment. How can people tell if they're empathic? What's some markers for them?
Well, some of the things that I knew was that I could feel things from other people. I could feel when somebody was sad. It's almost like if you could feel butterflies going on, or you get chills, or you get energy. It feels like energy is moving through your body. You sometimes even have thoughts, like you can hear what somebody is saying even though they didn't say it, or you kind of know something. And I know it's going into a little bit of a clairvoyant space, but it's definitely something feeling, sensing in the body, whether that's on an emotional level, mental, or physical.
Got it. Well, we're going to have to take that break I warned you about. Kathy and I will return to our discussion after this short break. You're listening to The Science of Magic on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net. I'm your host, Gwilda Wiyaka. Previous broadcasts of thought-provoking episodes can always be found on our website, www.thescienceofmagic.net. We will be back, so don't you go away.
was a terrifying experience.
I thought we was going to go to jail for murder.
That day, we were a little behind, so we worked until it was starting to get dark.
We loaded up the equipment and hadn't driven very far when we caught glimmers of this glow coming through the trees. I urged Mike to hurry up and get up there.
Travis had the door open before we even stopped. As he got closer, I heard the sound.
One of the guys said, "You feel that?"
I really panicked then.
I told him, "Get the hell out of here."
It didn't come directly to me, it came to a deputy sheriff.
Three of us volunteered right away to tell him what had happened.
Sheriff Gillespie definitely didn't believe it.
He says that we better be certain because we get in a lot of trouble.
When we went to search the next day, they split us up, and the whole time the deputies asked me, if you just tell us where the body is, we can all go home and get this over with.
We're talking about 100 people combing through the wooded area. Nothing turns up.
All week long, I've been hearing they're going to set it up to make you guys look guilty.
We're a rough-looking bunch then. Some of us have been in trouble with the law before.
And y'all ain't never going to come out of that jailhouse.
We couldn't get out.
I tried to sneak out the back door the day of the polygraph test. I was scared to death.
On top of that, you have media.
I literally would be on 2 telephones at the same time.
We've even got some coops in here now that's coming in and out to see the freak show, as they call it.
Everyone descends.
I just wasn't going to stand there and listen to it anymore.
Granny says, "This is Travis. I'm back. I need help."
When I did hear that he had been returned, it was almost as unbelievable as the original thing.
I just looked at my mom and says, "I told you we didn't kill him."
Travis Walton reappeared after several days with a bizarre story about a ride in an unidentified flying object.
People were desperate to explain it away.
Why are you sticking up with Travis for all this time? You know this really didn't happen.
What happened to Travis after we took off in that truck, I can't tell you.
I hated Travis for a long time after this. My whole world just tore up.
But I believe every word Travis said about it. He's never lied to me about nothing.
It's a net negative. We lost our jobs in the immediate aftermath.
And now you're not able to talk about it with anyone because you know that they're going to laugh at you, they're going to look at you like you're crazy.
But if you don't come out and tell your story, somebody else is going to tell it for you.
There's a degree of responsibility. Certainly I have to accept the bad. If I can direct what's happened in a way that I can make something good happen in the world, I'm looking for it.
Order your copy of Travis, The True Story of Travis Walton, today at www.traviswaltonthemovie.com.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone radio show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, High Tech with Corey Kay, and every minute of the 24/7, 365 programming of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 712-432-9459, courtesy of TalkStream Live. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 712-432-9459 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember, 712-432-9459 for the best of paranormal, new age, thought-provoking, sci-fi radio programming 24/7, 365.
Wouldn't you love to know the secret to everything? Well then, meet Dr. Kimberly McGeorge and her cutting-edge breakthrough knowledge that combines science with possibility. Dr. Kimberly brings real-life answers and healing to those open to alternative solutions. She teaches solution-based programs and classes that will change all areas of your life forever. Specializing in conscious creation, intuitive readings, and energy medicine, you can rapidly shift health, relationships, business, and money and abundance challenges quickly. Receive her best-selling book, Secret to Everything, at no cost by going to secrettoeverything.com/X-Zone. That's right, transformation can start now. Just go to secrettoeverything.com/X-Zone and receive Dr. Kimberly's book for free.
While science pursues fact, magic accesses the quantum level, bridging random facts to form truth. As long as science and magic remain separate and polarized, the truth cannot be known. I'm Gwilda Wiyaka. Join me on the Science of Magic radio program, dedicated to unification and evolution of consciousness. During each episode, I'll be speaking with experienced and respected scientists and mystics. From astrologers to astronomers, from medical doctors to shaman, the scientific method to dowsing and intuition, we'll weave together information from seemingly divergent practices to promote unity and enlightenment. Join me, Gwilda Wiyaka, and the Science of Magic right here on the Mutual Broadcast Network. For more information, visit www.thescienceofmagic.net.
I am Dr. Carl O'Helvey, founder, president of a new cancer foundation focusing on evidence-based physical, mental, and spiritual interventions, including natural cancer cures, prayer, meditation, affirmations, nutrition, and other related holistic cancer prevention and cure modalities. These are used in cancer education, research, and financing care. I ask for your help to continue this important work by donating at www.holisticcancerfoundation.com.
Welcome back. This is the Science of Magic, a place where magic and science come together to promote enlightenment. I'm your host, Gwilda Wiyaka. Our guest this hour is Kathy Ganev, a certified shamanic practitioner, certified shamanic instructor, empath, clairvoyant, and medical intuitive. Kathy, we were talking about being an empath. What's the difference between being an empath and what one might call a sensitive?
That's a good question. So I think I would consider an empath to also be sensitive, but not necessarily a sensitive to always be an empath. I am definitely sensitive, but I'm also an empath. So I guess if I would look at it intuitively, I feel like a sensitive may be more sensitive, like to maybe have allergies, or sensitive to other people or sounds or light, but may not necessarily be taking on the energy of other people, where I feel like an empath can feel the energy of other people and actually take it on. So yeah, I haven't really looked at that in too much detail, but that would be my take on it.
So what I hear you saying is that a sensitive is hypersensitive to their environment, where an empath is not only hypersensitive to their environment, but they internalize it. Is that what we're looking at?
Yeah. Yeah, I think they internalize it, but they also take it on. I don't know if that's the right way to say it. Like I feel as an empath, I might take someone's pain on, or I would it's almost like I'm getting an energetic imprint of the other person in my space.
So, this brings to mind, there's an ancient form that I try not to teach or practice because it can be so challenging, whereby you can literally take on the disparate frequency of a person and take it away from them to bring them rebalance and then process it out through your physical body. Is this also a skill that you see that an empath could possibly perform?
I'm sure they could with the proper training. I know that before I took my art school, I would take on other people's energy, as do or not ready to handle or don't know how to handle. Even if we're trying to transmute it in our energetic space, it sometimes is not possible, but depending on our own gifts and skills and how we know, how we learn how to process that energy through. So I don't really think it is something that an empath could do, but without the proper training, I would definitely recommend against it.
It's something that we kind of automatically do and can end up compromised because of it, don't you think?
Yeah, and that's exactly what has happened to me. I've gotten so sick that I have to be extremely careful about anything I put in or on my body, and be very careful about the energy that I am around, and be very conscious that, okay, no, I don't need to take this on. Because, I think, I can take it on and heal it, and it may be a very negative or very low frequency energy or a being that has a lot of damage that I'm not ready to manage. And really, without that proper training, without really knowing what you're doing, you can get very, very sick.
Yeah, I know as a mother that sometimes when my children would be extremely ill, I would actually take it on. They'd be right as rain, and I'd be sicker than a dog within 5 minutes. But I was stronger than they were, so I think it's kind of a natural provision in a way, don't you?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. You mentioned working with Indigos. What exactly is an Indigo?
Mm-hmm. So I see an Indigo, and I've read a bit about them, and I know it's obviously a term that someone created a while ago. I feel like they are, and I feel like I am an Indigo, which is why I resonate so much with their energy. They carve the path, so I can kind of see them with the machete cutting down and building the path for maybe the crystals or the rainbow children, or the children that are coming in now with even greater sensitivities or greater gifts. So they're paving the way. And I also, when I look at it intuitively, I feel like they're breaking open the sight, breaking open the third eye, breaking open that indigo, that color, that space for seeing the truth, for knowing who you are and seeing that truth. So they are the pathway makers. They are very sensitive, and again, they could be empaths and psychic and have paranormal gifts. But I feel like they are the drivers. They're making the path for the newer children to come through.
And so you mentioned the crystal and rainbow children. What are those exactly?
I don't know too much about the crystal and the rainbow. I've read a little bit about them, but what I have read is that they are much more sensitive or have much more gifts, or they come in being telepathic or being able to do telekinesis, or even what is that, where you kind of move things around with your mind. So they have these gifts and they don't really know how to use them. I feel like they are so much more sensitive that they're not able to always manage their energy. They might shut down more. They might be the ones that get a severe illness, or maybe diagnosed with an illness that we just don't understand, whether it's autism or even something else we might consider a brain abnormality or disability, that we're just not able to provide them the resources and the tools and the lifestyle or the environment that they need to be able to thrive. So I feel like they're more sensitive than the Indigos.
And so let's give them Ritalin, right?
Right. Yeah, let's numb them and shut them down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do you think we're seeing more of these children being born now? Why now?
That's an interesting question. I don't know. I feel like if these are the children that are coming in, they're probably needed for some reason. Maybe there is a shift in consciousness, so much so that we need their level of love and compassion or power or strength or courage or whatever it is that they're bringing through, to be able to shift our consciousness and come into a place of more balance, of more peace and less war, and less greed, and less people that just kind of want to hoard everything or only have the power for them, where I feel like they're trying to come in and kind of set the stage or recalibrate the energy and the space here. But I don't know. That's a great question. I'm sure that could be up for lots of debate. But I feel like, as a universe, as an existence, things come in that are probably more needed, when we need a balance fires come through and, things like that where we need to reestablish. So these energies are probably coming in to help us reestablish a new base.
Beautiful. Do you work with Indigos as children or as adults or both?
Well, I generally work with adults, but I have had a number of children come in, and some of them I feel like they're more like crystal or rainbow children. They're very aware and very conscious, but the majority of my clients are adults, so most of the Indigos that I work with are adults.
How can parents tell if their children may be gifted, like one of these three crystal, rainbow, Indigos, and are struggling because of that?
So I'm sure there are probably tons of books on this out there, but from my perspective and understanding, I would say looking for any signs of being overly emotional even, or needing time alone, or being very curious and having kind of these, you can almost sense it in a child that they're wise, they have some wisdom within them from beyond. If they do start struggling in any sense, then I would definitely, find a school or a program that might have some tools and resources for kids, because even if they're not a crystal or a rainbow child, having tools of managing energy is going to be important regardless. But I think the children in these realms are going to be, more curious, have a bigger imagination, really needing time to themselves, sometimes saying wise statements. They're going to love nature and being with the trees and the animals. So yeah, there's probably a ton of things that they could tell.
So, I have a curiosity that's occurred to me over the last few years. It's like we have these wonderful high-frequency little beings coming in, but how much have we compromised that in the ones that have come in before just because of our ignorance? Do you see us as really losing a lot of our gifts at childhood because of that?
So losing our gifts at childhood because of...
People being insensitive to the needs of the sensitivities of a child.
Oh, yeah. And so I think there are a ton of Indigos or crystal children or just sensitive beings or empaths that have no idea. And those are a lot of times the clients that I get. They call me and I'm like, oh my God, the energy and the information I'm getting and see is beyond. Like, it blows me away. And as a sensitive, I'm humbled and overwhelmed, and I just want to cry because they're so gifted and they've been shut down their entire life. And these are people sometimes in their 50s.
So by aligning with them, you mean like getting close enough to them where you're aligning your auric fields, you can suddenly pick up the imprint that they came with? Is that what's going on?
Yeah, I can pick that up, and then I can also see where their damage is and what happened. And so what they're doing is they're starting to open up and realize that, oh, I do have these gifts. I am okay, but they weren't allowed to use those gifts when they were younger. And, God forbid they do anything with it because they would be in trouble. It was, life or death for them. And so I do think that's happening now to children who come in. If the parents are not aware, if our society and our culture and the school systems are not aware that this is a gifted child, that they are going to give them Ritalin or whatever all those, different drugs are, or try to shut them down, and that is going to hinder their growth. And so I think that's why there are people like you and me and other healers or more conscious individuals who want to help the children and even the adults come into their awareness and learn how to use their gifts without having to be numbed by drugs or other substances.
Do you have just a few seconds left here? Do you think that the original religions that we've been subjected to have caused us to shut down out of fear of hell or damnation?
I think they have had an impact.
Yeah, it's interesting. The belief systems of the masses, if you can misinterpret the information you're getting, can't you?
Yeah. And I mean, the religions, like the base of it, like the Bibles and the old written words and the spiritual practice of it, I think it's all rooted in a good practice, but what we do with that information, how we interpret it, and then how we push that to other people is a whole different story. So if we're saying you're going to go to hell because this is what this says, it may be a misinterpretation or understanding of true
Absolutely.
spirituality.
Kathy and I will be back on the flip side of this commercial break. You're listening to The Science of Magic on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net, the place where altruistic professionals of science and the esoteric create common ground for the betterment of our world. You can always listen to previous transformative broadcasts on our website, www.thescienceofmagic.net. Don't go away.
Wouldn't you love to know the secret to everything? Well then, meet Dr. Kimberly McGeorge and her cutting-edge breakthrough knowledge that combines science with possibility. Dr. Kimberly brings real-life answers and healing to those open to alternative solutions. She teaches solution-based programs and classes that will change all areas of your life forever. Specializing in conscious creation, intuitive readings, and energy medicine, you can rapidly shift health, relationships, business, and money in abundance challenges quickly. Receive her best-selling book, Secret to Everything, at no cost by going to secrettoeverything.com/X-Zone. That's right, transformation can start now. Just go to secrettoeverything.com/X-Zone and receive Dr. Kimberly's book for free.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone radio show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, High Tech with Corey Kay, and every minute of the 24/7, 365 programming of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 712-432-9459, courtesy of TalkStream Live. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 712-432-9459 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember, 712-432-9459 for the best of paranormal, new age, thought-provoking, sci-fi radio programming 24/7, 365.
Coming soon to the X-Zone Broadcast Network is A Different Perspective with me, Kevin Randall, as your host. We'll be taking a close look at what is happening in the world of UFOs today with side trips into the paranormal. Guests will range from those who are household names to those who have a different perspective on a variety of topics. No topic will be taboo, but there will be tough questions asked as we all search for the truth about UFOs, the paranormal, and those things that excite us. Sometimes we'll agree with a guest and sometimes we won't, but we'll try to keep the program topical. For those of you who would like to read, be sure to visit www.kevinrandall.blogspot.com and remember to listen to the other fine programs on the X-Zone Broadcast Network at www.xzbn.net. This is Kevin Randall. For nearly 30 years, I have been investigating the case of the Roswell UFO. I have interviewed hundreds of people and stood on the crash site. Now in Roswell in the 21st century, I have reviewed dozens of hours of audio and videotaped interviews, examined hundreds of files that relate to the crash, and have returned to Roswell in an attempt to put all that information into the proper perspective. For the first time in Roswell in the 21st century, I have made a dispassionate reevaluation of all that material and provide a new look at what happened. This is a book that clears away all the clutter that has hidden the truth for so long, strips away the various lies that surround the case, exposes the Air Force attempts at cover-up, and found a core of solid information that tells us all where the case stands today. Roswell in the 21st century will be available in just a few weeks. For more information, please visit my website at www.kevinrandall.blogspot.com.
What happened in Benghazi is revealed by Nicholas Genix, author of Obama, Islam, and Benghazi. He informs the American people that President Obama deceived them by advocating a strong foreign policy prior to the 2012 presidential election, and Hillary Clinton supported this deception. As the title infers, there is a connection between Obama, Islam, and Benghazi. Ample evidence informs Americans that Obama's early indoctrination in the Quran developed an affinity for Islam, why the Quran is the source of discontent in many countries, and why the Obama foreign policy deception led to poor military action and caused the loss of American lives in Benghazi. Genix provides 36 questions for the Select Committee on Benghazi to validate if Americans are justified to mistrust President Obama and Hillary Clinton. An overview of Obama, Islam, and Benghazi is presented on the website www.futureofgodamen.com. That's www.futureofgodamen.com. Afterlife expert Roberta Grimes was the first one to say that dying can be fun. Now her best-selling book, The Fun of Dying, is available in stores worldwide. So if you wonder whether death ends life, how it feels to die, or what heaven might be like, The Fun of Dying was written for you. And if you have always been afraid of death, or if you worry that your life has no meaning, let The Fun of Dying ease your fears and bring new meaning to your life. Nothing said in The Fun of Dying is based on the teachings of any religion. Instead, Roberta draws on evidence to explain how death happens, how it feels, and what comes next. A lot of the best death-related evidence was produced in the first half of the 20th century. When it is put together with recent discoveries, it tells a consistent and amazing story. Roberta Grimes blogs and answers questions at robertagrimes.com. Her wonderful book, The Fun of Dying, is available on Amazon and at stores worldwide wherever books are sold.
Welcome back. This is The Science of Magic, bringing together gifted people of service to the world. I'm your host, Gwilda Wiyaka. Our guest this hour is Kathy Ganev, a Certified Shamanic Practitioner, Certified Shamanic Instructor, Empath, Clairvoyant, and Medical Intuitive. Kathy, I understand you're also a minister, aren't you?
Yes, yes.
How fun is that? Yeah, and where'd you get your ministry?
From the Church of Inner Light at Psychic Horizon Center in Boulder, Colorado.
Nice, nice. You speak of super souls. What exactly are they?
So super souls to me are, they're empathic, they're clairvoyant, but they are, I feel like they're a hybrid. They're like a type A creative. They're the introverted extrovert. They are the individual that is like, you can't miss them, but then they're invisible or mysterious. And they're the drivers. They really come in and they're like, I feel like there is something I am meant to do. I have a bigger purpose. I'm meant to go in a direction. They're always curious. They're always searching. They're constantly doing training. But they're also extremely sensitive and very, very powerful. And a lot of them don't really know how to use their gifts and tools. Sometimes they don't even realize that they're super souls. And these are the individuals that I really seek out and really look forward to help on their path.
I'm pretty familiar with the ones you're talking about now that you've defined them, because a lot of them are drawn to the shamanic arts and to the school. Mm-hmm. And there's a couple of hallmarks that I've noticed I'd like to have you speak to. One is they draw people like magnets, and then they blow them out like crazy because of the frequencies they dance. Have you experienced this, and what advice do you have for them?
Yeah. Yeah, that is definitely a challenging one. For super souls, it's almost critical that you're going to be training regularly in spiritual and spiritual training, shamanic, whatever you're really drawn to. It's got to be a daily practice, and you're going to learn how to manage your energy. But it's kind of like fire starters. She will start those fires once, and things get going, then things blow up. So you have to start to learn how to manage it, and it is a daily practice. And there are people that are going to come in and out of your life, and you're there to help them process, and you're learning from them as well. But it's not always going to be an easy ride. Once you open this door, as you will know, and you've taught me many times, it's hard to shut it once you start to become aware and conscious of it. And you learn how to play with it, and you learn how to love it and have a love-hate relationship with it. But if you're a super soul, you're a super soul. Kind of
stuck to the darn thing, huh?
Yeah.
Why do you think that it's such a volatile energy to work with?
Probably because the environment that we're in, we don't have a lot of teachers or a lot of elders that can teach us how to manage that energy. And that I feel like there is this, the way it's showing it to me, it's like there's magnets coming together and magnets going apart. So it's this constant pulling, going, coming, going. It's like being in the middle of all of those magnets at the same time. And I think it's because we're shifting and changing, and we're still learning how to transition. We're still learning how to transfer, and there are still individuals in and amongst us that are very lost and at a frequency that we still have to manage with, that maybe not at a level that we have grown to or that we have learned from. I don't know if that makes much sense. But
It does. It's a complicated issue. Before we get too far into this segment, Kathy G., would you tell us where people can find your services?
Yes. So I work out of Boulder, Colorado, but I do all of my sessions long distance over the phone or on Skype or FaceTime, and they can find me at my phone number is 303-246-1084, or they can visit my website at KiofGHealing, KIOFGhealing.com, or theurbanspiritguide.com.
What do you specialize in? Who would be looking for you?
So it's those super souls. It's those individuals that are really, a lot of them feel somewhat lost. They feel like they can't manage their energy. They're almost at a tipping point where they're like, I am suffering. I'm in a place where I can't manage my energy. I want to know what my purpose is or where I'm meant to go or what my path is. I want to open up. I want to be more conscious and aware, and I want to be able to use my tools. And they feel like they have a purpose. So those are the individuals that I frequently receive requests for services from.
That is a hallmark of super souls, isn't it? That driving sense of purpose that kind of wipes everything else out of its path. Yeah.
It does. And you can take a different path, and it's just you end up, searching again. Okay, where is it? You're constantly curious and searching, and I need more. I need some. It's not here yet. I'm still looking for it, but you can find a lot of peace with the healing work and with training.
Talk to me a little bit about multidimensionality as it expresses in super souls.
So multidimensionality as it expresses in super souls. You mean like working in different dimensions, or?
Yes, and multitasking. I see amazing ability to multitask in our super souls.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely being able to do a lot of things. And I feel like for these super souls, one of the things that they're having a really hard time with is that they're actually in other dimensions. So they have their foot in both worlds or multiple worlds. And that they are someone that can be in a very scientific field and then be in a very spiritual practice, and then also be very interested in nature or exercising. Or they have a lot of different skills and a lot of different interests. And I feel like sometimes people think, oh, they're contradicting themselves, or they conflict themselves, or they're confusing. But it's because they are learning so many things, and not necessarily even a jack of all trades, but they do know a lot of things. So the multitasking, they do have that great ability, but I feel like it's more from working in other dimensions as well. So the thing that they have a really hard time with is how do they manage their energy that so much so is not somewhere else and that they're drained here? How can they manage it where it's more like like a reference, like I'm referencing the energy in that other dimension, but not taking all my energy away from my physical body in this body. So
that staying put is the challenge, isn't it?
Yeah, being grounded and in the body, but still being able to be out in other dimensions at the same time. But really learning how to manage that requires training.
I mean, do people that come in that way even recognize that they're in multiple places at once at first?
No, I didn't. I had no idea. Like, oh, well, that's where I'm at. Okay. Yeah.
So we kind of have to build a roadmap, huh?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. What you spoke of life purpose or soul purpose. How does that compare with life path? Would you speak to that?
Yeah. So I've seen this a lot with individuals. Like there's a bigger soul purpose. So that might be they're here to teach peace. Let's just say that's their soul purpose. Well, in this life path here on this earth right now, in my incarnation as Kathy Ganev. My path, my soul purpose may be to bring in peace, but this life path may be to create destruction, in order to get to that place. So I feel like the soul purpose is kind of the bigger encompassing, and I may reach that over different lifetimes, over different life paths. And so this life path may not meet a one-to-one connection to the soul purpose. It might, but it might also be a little bit different in order for us to get to that point. So to create something new, sometimes you have to destroy. That's kind of how I see it.
Do you think that these are predestined, or we have any involvement in choosing them, or, how much choice do we have in this?
Yeah, I think for the soul purpose, we might have a choice on the other side before we come in, or, before we start our soul. I'm not too sure about that. But for the life path, I think we do have a choice, and we can impact it, we can shift it, we can change it. I think eventually we'll get to our soul purpose. So we might do our life, have many, many lifetimes until we fulfill our soul purpose, if we constantly want to change it. But I feel like we do have a choice on our life path.
What would you share with the listeners about how to find their life path and soul purpose?
So, yeah, I'm working on that every day. Just kidding. It's something that you're kind of called to. You feel it. It's like in your bones. You feel it in your gut. You feel it like rushing through you. You're very excited about it. But there are a lot of things that I've been excited about, and I've done different things in this lifetime, and I keep learning. And for a super soul, it could be many different things in one life. And I think when we get too stuck on what is my life path, I have to follow this, and that's the only thing I should do, we can get stuck. Where we allow it to be a little bit more open and then kind of follow our promptings, because it may be that, I'm going to do, I'm going to become a swimmer, and I'm a swimmer and I only do it for 2 years, and then I'm like, okay, now I'm going to become a runner, and okay, now I'm going to become a biker. Well, maybe we were supposed to be a triathlete the whole time, and if we had only gotten stuck on, I'm supposed to swim, then we're not
Kathy,
allowing
time
ourselves.
Time flies, and we're out of it.
Yes.
Thank you so much for being with us. Our guest this hour has been Kathy Ganev, Certified Shamanic Practitioner, Certified Shamanic Instructor, Empath, Clairvoyant, and Medical Intuitive. Her website, www.aiofghealing.com. This has been The Science of Magic. Remember, you can always listen to prior innovative, thought-provoking episodes on our website, www.thescienceofmagic.net. Until next time, dear ones, may you be blessed with knowledge and comforted with love as you achieve ever-deepening levels of health and well-being.
One people, one nation, searching through